All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the last, I guess, update that's sandwiched by rounds. The next update will be the final one. The third round is now in the books for March Insanity, the fifth annual Dark Tower Palaver March Insanity, and the first ever Stephen King non-Dark Tower poll was this year, and we have uh, uh, got through our final four. Of course, no trademark infringement intended there. And that is now in the books. So it is time to look at what we have for the last round, as well as look ahead for the final round, which is voting now. So if you want to go over to darktowerpalaver.com/March Insanity, you will see the final two polls, one for Stephen King and one for non-Stephen King. Or I'm sorry, one for Dark Tower, one for non-Dark Tower. That's just Stephen King. There we go. I'll get it right at some point. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the next slide where we are going to cover first the results of the final four, round three of the Dark Tower, the fifth annual Dark Tower poll, which we are crowning our favorite spoken line. So let's go ahead and jump on over to the brackets here. So in this one here on the left side, we had Kill If You Will, but Command Me Nothing, facing off with Long Days and Pleasant Nights. And this one was actually a pretty resounding victory, not quite a blowout. We have defined blowout here on March Insanity as 75% or more. This fell just short of that. We got Long Days and Pleasant Nights taking 71.4%, and Kill If You Will, but Command Me Nothing taking 28.6%. So a pretty resounding victory for Long Days and Pleasant Nights. I was, again, never know how these are going to go, because as we get here deeper into the bracket showdown, the tougher it gets, because you got ones that have won. These tend to be the cream of the crop. So didn't know how this would go. So that puts Long Days and Pleasant Nights in the finals. So that is that side. Let's go to the other side of the bracket and see what its opponent will be. And on this side, we had Go Then. There are other worlds than these. Facing off with We Are Quartet, One for Many, Let the Palaver Begin. And this one was a blowout. This one, Go Then, There Are Other Worlds Than These, took 83.3% of the vote. And We Are Quartet, One for Many, Let the Palaver Begin only took a measly 16.7%. So this was the most resounding victory of the round, between this poll and the other. So this is our biggest blowout. And yeah, you know what? There's actually really no tight matches in this one, which is surprising. So, that does put it in the books for round three. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket as it stands now for the final voting, which you can do now. Again, I just got the poll posted, so once his video is posted, you'll be able to go and vote. But we have the finals. We have Long Days and Pleasant Nights on the left side for favorite spoken line. And then on the right side, we have Go Then, There Are Other Worlds Than These. Probably two of the most iconic lines in the series. There's a lot of good lines in this poll, though. But these are two that certainly you would have guessed would have been heavyweights. Although Kill If You Will, but Command Me Nothing was actually one of the most nominated. So that was actually kind of an upset for Long Days and Pleasant Nights. Although not to say that wasn't. Again, our top four, top left, top right, bottom right, the four corners are always the ones with the heaviest ones, but I tend to put the absolute heaviest both on the top. So yeah, that was a minor upset. But Go Then, There Are Other Worlds Than These was the second most nominated thing. So that one was not much of an upset, but there it is. The finals for this one. Now we are going to be going over to the non-Dark Tower bracket. So there's just no way to, I guess, you're going to know, because I've always done this the same way, but we're going to do this one backwards, and there's a reason for that, because you got to make sure you lead with or make sure the grand finale is the last thing, right? So let's go to the right side of the non-Dark Tower Stephen King side, which is where we are crowning for the first poll ever for the Stephen King side. We are doing most hated character. This kind of goes along the lines of our first ever March Insanity back in 2019, where we did that for Dark Tower. That, of course, came down to Cordelia Delgado versus Rhea of the Coos, and Rhea won that one. And so now here we're doing the same thing, but on the non-Dark Tower side, on the Stephen King side, and we are doing most hated characters. So on the right side, even though we normally go left to right, this one I'm going backwards. We have, let me make sure I got my right thing here so I can change it around. There we go. We have Percy Wetmore was facing off with Greg Stilson. We just did the Dead Zone on our Patreon stuff not too long ago, so that's fresh in my mind. But yeah, Percy with the victory. Not a blowout, but it was a resounding victory. There were no tight races in this final four, but Percy took 69.2% of the vote, where Greg Stilson only got 30.8% of the vote. So that it removes Greg and puts Percy in the finals. Not necessarily one that we would have necessarily called a shocker. But now there's no way to, maybe like, I guess I could hype this up a little bit, because on the other side, there is no way there's no overhyping this. This one is without a doubt the biggest upset we've ever had in the history of March Insanity. 5 years running now, and we've had a number of upsets over the years, including one in the finals with the most beloved Dark Tower characters, where Oi lost by a single vote to Eddie Dean. So there's been upsets. There's been big upsets. But this is one that I was stunned when I opened my phone not too long ago. A couple hours ago, I realized that it wasn't Monday. My whole week's been thrown off. So I was like, oh, got it. Got one more night to vote. And I pulled up my phone and realized they were finals. I'm like, oh, my God, it's Tuesday. So I got it. So it was only a few hours ago that I saw this. But without further adaudue, let's jump on over to the left side. Where we had Mrs. Carmody, probably the biggest favorite, going up against Patrick Hochstetter. And Patrick won. I can't believe I'm saying that. I had to almost like cartoonishly rub my eyes and whatever, because this just didn't seem right. I thought I misread it. But no, indeed, Mrs. Carmody was defeated. Patrick got 64% of the vote. Mrs. Carmody got 36% of the vote. Never would have saw this coming, although Patrick Hochstetter, again, pulled an upset in round one over Henry Bowers. Henry had more nominations than him. And then he went up against Big Jim Rennie from Under the Dome, and he defeated him. And then now here we go in round three, where he defeats probably the biggest pulls the biggest upset in the history of March Insanity, and one that will be very, very hard to beat in the future. Where Patrick, one that I never would have thought, one that could go this far, but certainly has. Patrick is in the finals, beating Mrs. Carmody. Peter is going to be beside himself. So let's go ahead and jump on over to the bracket here and show it for the finals as it lays out. And it is Patrick Hochstetter versus Percy Wetmore in the finals for most hated character on the Non-Dark Tower Stephen King March Insanity poll. Insane. Cannot believe it. I am stunned. So, it's great though. I mean, that's what we love. I guess that's why we love doing this. I guess I will say we kind of mimic this off of a college basketball thing, the March Madness. I think there's a lot of people on the internet that do different brackets of different kinds. This is what we've enjoyed doing. But I guess one of the best things about the March Madness thing when it comes to basketball is the Cinderella stories, the big upsets where you have massive basketball programs, schools losing to seemingly unknown or small schools or very big underdogs. So I guess Mrs. Carmody losing to Patrick Hochstetter in the third round of most hated non-Dark Tower King characters. But again, there's just no way that's not the biggest upset we've ever had. We've had upsets throughout the years. This is, again, our 5th year in a row doing the Dark Tower side. First time for Stephen King, but in the history of all of the 5 years we've done, there's not been a upset nearly as stunning as this one. So, wild. That is the bracket. You have today, the polls are on now at darktowerpalaver.com/MarchInsanity, and you have through the end of the month, so that gives you, I think it's a day shorter than we normally have, just because the way the month falls. So you have until Monday night, when the clock strikes midnight, moves into Tuesday the 1st. That will be the end of the poll, and so I will be back in a week from today on here, and we will reveal the winner. It's April 1st, but I always promise no shenanigans, no April Fool shenanigans, because we've got to know the truth and the winners of all this. So next week, go get your votes in between now and then, but a week from today, I will be back, same bat time, same bat channel, well, roughly same time, maybe a little earlier. But we will be back to reveal the winners of this poll. I guess we have a book club coming up for our next episode. So I was going to say, I guess we could talk about it on the next episode, but with a book club that doesn't really leave us a lot of room for this kind of discussion. So it will be interesting when we have our next our first April show to kind of go and talk about March Insanity in total. But I'm sure this Patrick Hockstetter over Mrs. Carmody will be a big point of conversation. I believe Peter will be pretty upset, I would guess, because I don't think there's anyone that he hates more than Mrs. Carmody. So, yeah, that I'm sure he wanted to see her crown, but now it is Percy Wetmore versus Patrick Hockstetter. So, go get your vote in, and then on the Dark Tower side, let me go back to that bracket. We have Long Days and Pleasant Nights facing off with Go Then, There Are Other Worlds and These for favorite spoken line in the Dark Tower series. So go get your vote in. Vote as many times as you want. And yeah, let's see who our winners will be. And until then, I will sign off. Well, first of all, of course, join us here on Saturday live on YouTube. You subscribe and review and all that, or rates and all that fun stuff. But so if you subscribe, it'll show you what time we're recording in your time. For us, it's 2 p.m. Mountain time, which is what, 4 p.m. Eastern time. But then if you're across the world, go to YouTube, though it'll translate the time to your time. We'll be on live here on YouTube. Join us for our next book club series, next book club for Wizard and Glass. And then we'll be back in April. I forget the date, not the 5th, but the 12th, April 12th. We'll be back for our next roundtable where we will do kind of a full recap with Peter being able to chime in as well. But until then, I'll sign off as I always do by saying long days and pleasant nights.